30% rise countrywide. According to the Ministry of Health, the increase in malaria cases started way back in 2021, but the peak was realized from March this 2022.
People are coming from the community. We are also moving to clinics and drug shops all over the country, encouraging them that all patients with severe malaria or any danger signs which they have seen, they should be quickly referred, because we have better facilities in the government health facilities, including blood transfusion, including IV fluids, injectable artesunate. So we would like them not to hold the patients there.
The increasing cases of malaria in the country are a pointer that more control interventions are needed to complement the existing ones, like use of mosquito nets. The Ministry of Health admits that the increase in malaria cases started in 2021. However, the peak was recorded in March 2022, with almost all regions being affected. We have had increase in up to 73 districts. However, right now we're experiencing the upsurges in 48 districts. A number of districts have gotten out of the upsurge, but districts at epidemic level are up to 10. Although the number of malaria cases increased, the death rate remained low, and the Ministry of Health attributes this to good case management. The deaths have not increased, but in the most hit districts we have noted increase in deaths. We are monitoring deaths very closely. Like last week, there were 7 deaths in Hoima Hospital, 5 in Fort Portal Referral Hospital, and 3 in Uganda. We have already dispatched teams there to go and find out why. Because these are hospital deaths, even if people come late, we have facilities to resuscitate them, transfuse them, put them on drip, and save their lives. Regions like Lango in northern Uganda are one of the most hit, and in the last city, the number of malaria cases increased from 2,892 in January to 6,069 by June 2022, implying that malaria prevalence, which was at 18% in June 2021, increased to 51% in June this year.
The reason as to why children are more affected, no children in terms of immunity, they have low immunity. That is 1. 2, they cannot protect themselves. Even if they sleep under the net, you may find they are unable to hang net by themselves. So it is at the mercy of their parents. So sometimes they may not be all night trying to hang the net, and they sleep restlessly. Most times they are up, they are here and they are there. So it makes them be vulnerable. So those are the vulnerable group. And also another category which is much affected is old age people.
In the area where I am, many people are suffering. Like example, last month in my home area, about 5 people, they nearly died of malaria until they were taken to the hospital for treatment.
Drugs, these essential drugs for malaria are always quarterly released. Sometimes it is released late. You go to a health facility, you find there's no drug.
Several interventions have been employed to curb the increasing malaria cases.
We responded at the center, at the district, and at community level. At the center, our government has sent additional medicines, test kits, and mosquito nets to affected districts. We actually doubled their supplies. We also transferred money to districts for radio, for surveillance, and district task forces
At household level, here are some of the tips that can help you in the control and management of malaria. Make sure that you and your family sleep under mosquito net every day. Do away with stagnant water in your compound. Avoid bushes around your home because they are a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Test for malaria immediately you feel unwell. Get treatment for malaria immediately you test positive, and avoid self-medication. Adia Nakote and Eddie Olwa, UBC.
Insecurity in Karamoja sub-region has reduced following the launch of the Operation Usalama kwa Wote since July last year. According to the commanders, simultaneous operations across the 9 districts of Karamoja sub-region, more than 200 guns have been recovered from rustlers during this time.
It's now close to a year since UPDF and police anti-stock theft units launched Operation Usalama kwa Wote to end insecurity in Karamoja sub-region. According to the top security commanders from UPDF and police in Karamoja sub-region, the criminality has reduced in this 1 year.
Part of the reason why the region is silenced because of this correction. I told you we are attacking the centers of gravity of criminality within Karamoja.
The 3rd Division Commander Brigadier General Joseph Paliko Dembe says, since mid-May this year, over 200 guns have been recovered.
Started the simultaneous operation on 16th May 2022. To date, we managed to recover 226 guns. In 2 months, 226 guns. This is a higher figure with a short period of time compared to the recovery of 212 guns recovered in 10 months.
In this over 1 year, some local council leaders were arrested and detained and others killed in possession of illegal guns.
Amongst the leaders that I talked about, one of the leaders who was killed in Napak together with others is called Lokure John Bosco, LCC chairperson, Lokopo sub-county, was arrested together with others, who are district councillor for Lokopo, Logit Mario. They masterminded the killing of a Jiso in Lokopo, Napaka district. So they are under custody, and we are still searching for the trigger man who shot the...
Relatedly, some notorious warriors were also killed and others were arrested, which has led to the recovery of more guns from their groups.
AKA Museveni, a ring leader based in Kacheri sub-county, was arrested on 12th July 2022 and is responsible for ambushing a UPDF soldier who was riding a motorcycle in Kabong. On 22nd, he killed him. His group is responsible for raids in Kabongo, Karenga, and parts of Agago. He's with us in jail, and he is cooperating.
The top security commanders in Karamoja sub-region explains why notorious warrior Igira Nakolitodo, who calls himself Museveni handed in a gun, was detained.
Chuchu had left a bigger group behind and he came alone. That one was a lesson to us that Achuchu and many others who voluntarily surrender are not free as we may think that they have left criminality, which means they should help us to interrogate the matter properly and get out those ones that they have been working with.
They have been their guns. They don't have aspects which we are talking about. Somebody may come under duress, our duress of operation, and there are other criminality he has been engaged in, and we want more information from him. And at the end of the day, you never know, he might be released.
Meanwhile, the ASTU Commandant Arias Kasurabo narrates why commercialized rates have reduced.
Currently, the LOCs give letters, traceability letters. Previously, they were coming to markets to give those letters from markets, other than being in the village where animals are. Then, the district veterinary officers, on confirming that those letters are that detail the number of animals somebody has sold, and looking at the traders, because the traders must have traders permits, and looking at the aspect of where those animals are going, that's when a district veterinary officer gives the movement permit.
However, the top commanders say they are challenged by leaders who plead for the release of notorious criminals, and others are involved in criminality. Since the beginning of Usalama kwa wote, 438 guns recovered, 2,206 livestock were recovered out of 4,225, which was stolen, and several warriors killed, arrested, and prosecuted by the Division Court Martial.
Thank you very much there, Shaidat Nasaku. Now, civil society organizations and people living with HIV/AIDS network have called on the Ministry of Health to come up with guidelines for health workers on the treatment of HIV and AIDS patients that have missed, especially the third-line treatment, for a period between 3 to 6 months due to stockouts of ARVs. While engaging an official from the AIDS Control Program, Ministry of Health, on persistent stockouts of life-saving HIV medicines, CSOs indicate that the ministry's most recent quarterly stockout status stands at levels of raltegravir 400 milligrams and raltegravir 100 milligrams and darunavir 75 milligrams. However, the government of Uganda, PEPFAR, and a Global Fund have not resolved the issue of stockout crisis. An advocacy and strategic litigation officer, Uganda Network on Ethics, Law and HIV/AIDS, Mirembe Jovia, said that shortage of third-line medicines led to HIV/AIDS patients being given ART refills at the end of June. The coordinator, Prevention AIDS Control Program, Peter Mudiope, promised to forward the information to officials responsible for the care and treatment.
Every day.
That is what we want the ministry to say, that doctor in there stated that there are guidelines to help, but they are not disseminated. So we want the ministry to disseminate these guidelines, which clearly show how do we deal with people who have missed third line, how it is people are not having medications. What is happening is that if you've been taking 3 combinations of drugs, they are giving you 2 or 1, which is also deadly because all the combinations perform different functions in our bodies. So if you're taking, and also if you've been on third line, which means second line failed. So if you go back to the health facility and they are giving you second line, which you took 5 years ago and it failed, it means it's not going to work on you. We are not achieving what we wanted to achieve, the 95 targets. Also tasking the national medical stores, who is responsible for keeping the medicine and supplying them, to ensure that they supply medicines with a longer shelf life, because the medicines we have are expiring at the end of this month, 31st July. So what happens after the expiry?
As to why there are persistent stockouts of antiretroviral therapies in the country. People living with HIV need to take their medications every day to control the viral load. People living with HIV need to take their medications every day so that they don't infect others. People living with HIV need to take their medications every day so that they can have a good life. But since January, the country has been facing persistent stockouts of third-line medications. The fund sent the money to Uganda. What happened to the money? Who is supposed to do something and is not doing it right? That is the question. There is a lot of suffering. People are beginning to die. You can't be off treatment for 3 months, sincerely speaking.
Work stops. Once somebody is positive, that's treatment. I hand over to the treatment team. If they are negative, even if they are not key populations, they are under the docket of prevention. So, but I wouldn't just see this forum coming here and you're not attended to because I'm prevention.
And we really appreciate it.
Yes.
Doctor.
That's why I came, and picking these ideas, it also gives me interest to pursue. And
the government of Uganda is in advanced stages of elevating all poster Uganda centers countrywide to service centers in a move aimed at bridging the gap between government services and citizens. This has been revealed by the Minister in charge of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, during his maiden tour to Entebbe poster offices.
Upon arrival at the Entebbe zonal postal offices, the ICT Minister Dr. Chris Baryomonsi was led to a guided tour of the facility. At the center, a fully-fledged ICT section has also been installed, and members of the public will soon have access to it.
For those of you who may not have quick access to internet, this is a government facility. Come in, you'll be able to access internet, you'll be able to surf, you'll be able to even use the computer to print, to fax, to photocopy.
The minister was also taken around in order for him to appreciate the current land and structure status of the facility.
Honorable Minister, we're able to walk the entire perimeter of this real estate, half an acre, in probably the most prime land in Entebbe, but of that, only a third is utilized. The rest is plain grass.
It is recorded that having been established in 1920, the facility is now living beyond its lifespan.
This building has served 100 years. If we construct something much bigger, more enterprising, and it's going to serve Ugandans for 100 years, the younger people may still be here, but we'll be glad to leave the young generation in much safer hands.
We even have a law that provides for PPPs, and therefore there is nothing to stop us from pursuing that line in order to develop our infrastructure.
Present at the event was Sulaiman Kirunda, the board chairperson Posta Uganda, and Fabrice Rohinda, the mayor in Entebbe municipality.
For those of you who fly, when you land here, you are disappointed. Every other country, when you land, you're happy. You're seeing a city, and even Kenya, where you land in a national park, looks better than when you're landing into Entebbe.
Baryomonsi was in company of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawete.
Poster buildings or poster centers are one of those that we have seen as a potential for us to drive this digital transformation program, especially as we implement the parish development model. With the parish development model, we are aiming at getting services to the last person on the ground. And the only way we can do this initially is to ride on the infrastructure that we already have in government.
Minister Dr. Chris Baryomonsi committed himself to the transformation process of Posta Uganda.
Our presence here this morning is to give you assurance that the ministry fully supports the services that you render, the activities that you carry out, and we shall continue to support you as the Minister of ICT and National Guidance. In any case, we have no option.
Post office was the main communication provider before the 1990s, but with the current technology, such services have largely remained redundant. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
It's time for us to take a short break. We will return with more news. Stay with us.
Vimba ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
World Cup in the desert, the first one in the Middle East, the first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals, out-of-this-world celebrations.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV, love it.
Children are a special gift, one we must protect and nurture with care. Ensuring your child has a birth certificate opens doors for them that would otherwise be hard to access, such as immunization, school admission, or simply proving their age and belonging. Let us do our duty as parents and guardians by registering our children and getting them birth certificates. For more information, visit the NERA office closest to you or call the toll-free number 0800-211-700. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using to Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Fun is our flavor. When we're together, the vibe is pretty alright. Our taste is pretty awesome. We are Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment. Enjoy Mirinda Fruity, Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Time for business. Uganda Revenue Authority has impounded a truck with a built-in compartment transporting smuggled goods from the eastern border of Busia. The Fuso Fighter truck registration number UBA 174C had an assortment of goods that included bags of rice and others of garments.
Culprits were arrested, and once we arrest them, the goods are treated, are seized under the law. The transporter has his part, the people we are transporting, all of them are prosecuted in the courts of law.
Those products include beers, wines, spirits, sodas, cigarettes, water, cement, sugar. We have other alcoholic beverages, other non-alcoholic beverages, fruit juice and vegetable juice, fermented beverages, and cooking oil.
We are also having interagency sharing of information, and then we can now coordinate amongst the different agencies.
As of now, we have 13 products, gazetted products, that require tax stamps.
The super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Compartment super easy.
And in the world of sports, with few hours remaining to the 2022 Commonwealth Games, a number of countries set to take part at the event in Birmingham have touched down at different airports in the United Kingdom to hold their final preparations before commencement. Among the countries already in Birmingham is Uganda, which happens to be one of the most successful East African countries in the Games history, with over 50 medals in grip, and will be looking to rewrite those numbers in the coming Games. Uganda is set to compete in a number of categories, including boxing, athletics, netball, among others. In the build-up to the Games, we take a look at some of the most iconic moments created by Ugandan participants over the years and the competition's history.
And Olympic stars Ariane Titmus.
Inside the last 200 metres, Uganda versus Kenya. Coming at him, he can't break him, he comes, he can't, can he? Kipsero in front, Kipsero wins it for Uganda. What a magnificent, courageous victory that was.
This, a three-way battle for the line. It's so with no form at all. Moses Kipsero has become the first man in history to defend this title. Wow, but a piece of history for the Ugandan Commonwealth champion. He reigns supreme here by the tiniest of margins. Uganda is a very, very proud nation. They will be delighted in Kampala, in Jinja, all across the country.
Quite a telltale. We are so blessed to have such champions within our country. My name is Patricia Lokoma-Mpango. That's all we had time for you this lunchtime. Thank you so much for sharing your lunchtime with us. Good afternoon.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using Uganda. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
My name is Damali Sali and I welcome you to this episode of the Ideation Corner. The Ideation Corner is a space where ideas are discussed and dissected. And today I host Dr. Gladys Zikusoka. She is the founder and CEO of Conservation Through Public Health, and she's going to tell us all about it. Gladys, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me to Ideation Corner. And it's a very impressive idea, and I'm really happy to be on the show.
Okay. Thank you for